So here we go. This is episode 90. This is episode 90 of NoLaughTrack. My name's Justin Severson. Thank you for listening. I appreciate every one of you. And if you like what you're hearing, of course, share it with your friends. Like us on Facebook if you haven't yet, and follow us on Twitter as well. Thank you to Circle of Heat, the music we just heard at the beginning there. Episode 90. This is amazing. And first timer today.
Yeah.
Happy to report. Phil Hanley's here.
Hey.
And
90, congratulations.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm pleased.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot.
I would say 45 of them are better than the other 44.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All
We're
right.
shooting over 50%. I think,
Nice.
here. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna go
cool.
with that.
All right. Well, I hope this is in the top 45.
The plus one.
Yeah, I hope this is in the top 46 of your podcast.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. We just met this morning.
Yeah, crack of dawn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You had a show last night?
I did, yeah. I was here at Acme last night.
First time headlining, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I'd stopped here. I did a college here. I was in Minnesota, and I did a college. I forget. I don't know what school it was. I think it was a little bit outside of Minnesota. Anyways, I stopped here and did a guest spot years ago.
Oh, okay.
Not Minnesota. Minneapolis.
Yeah, just outside of Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Wonder which one that was.
I
heard you mention this on another show.
Oh,
Did you
really?
say it was an all-girls school?
I don't think that they're kind of a blur. I did a year or a couple years where I was doing lots of colleges, and they're a little blur. But I did at one point do an all-girls junior college, which I'm from Canada, and junior colleges don't even exist. I guess I would describe high school as a junior college. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah, and they wore their pajamas, and their laugh was distinctly an octave higher than I'd ever heard. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were, it was a fun show.
I have, people must hate when I go, I have 2 daughters, because I seem to mention that at every show, but it relates to so many things in my life.
Oh, I'm sure.
Sorry, I can't help it. I'm a father. The sounds that girls make, let alone, like from a junior college, apparently that must not change. I know when that octave starts.
Oh, really?
It's at the age of 5.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it was, it was just amazing. It was like hearing a song that you know really well in a different key.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's a good analogy.
Yeah, I just came up with that.
And Acme, no history here. Did you say you stopped in?
Oh yeah, I stopped here. I did a guest spot
like
that weekend, like the day before or the day after, or something like that.
Do you remember who that was with?
Yeah, it was here. Chad Daniels was the headliner.
Chad,
yes, and I had met Chad at my home club in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
The Comedy Mix, and and so he knew I was in town, and he invited me down to do a guest spot. And I had heard so much about Acme, and was just blown. It was one of those clubs where you're like, oh, everything, like the sound is perfect, and the height of the ceiling is perfect, and the crowd was great, and so I'm so excited to be here this weekend. I
heard, I liked the way the podcast I heard you on recently was with Todd Barry.
Okay, yeah,
and I loved what he said. Just in my little bit of affiliation to the club here, I get all excited when people talk about it. On something outside of this show or something local.
Yeah.
So when Todd was on that podcast, on his show with you, saying all these great things about Acme, he was describing even how the backstage, you come through the curtain and boom, you're right here.
Yeah.
Have you? What's the drawback of the when it's not like that?
I've played. It's just great. It's just great, and it's not like Acme's notorious among comics. I always rave about this room, and comics always want to play here. But I like there's that little holding booth right behind the stage where you're not in the green room. So there's the green room, and then there's a little one other little room, and then you come on. The other options, I've played so many different variations. There's some places where you got to come through the crowd.
High-fiving all the way up?
Generally, I high-five, but that's from my collegiate basketball upbringing.
Little slap on the butt, maybe?
Yeah.
Good game.
So there's sometimes you come through the crowd, which isn't ideal, which is fine. But and then I've played some rooms where when I first started, one of my first road gigs, possibly my first road gig, was a club where you had to open a door to come on stage, like you would in a one-act play. So you come on. You come on, and then you got to you open the door, and then you would have to slowly and quietly close the door, or because it was like a quick door, there's no carpet or anything. So, or you'd slam the door. So you'd start like, you know what I mean? It would be like the beginning of like an episode of Barney Miller where like the door slams and you're like, all right, here are my jokes. Yeah, it was a terrible setup. Awful. Because in your back, you're starting. I feel anything, if you got to start, the audience is judging the second you come out, obviously. And you have to start like anything, if you like fumble or if you walked out and went to put your glass of water on the stool and it fell onto the stage, people wouldn't get over that for a while.
Yeah, you're
like,
right. Yeah.
So anything like where you like fumble with the mic or anything like that. So to walk out and then to do this door thing, like it was just the beginning of a terrible sitcom.
You know what you obviously should have done, and maybe you did.
Well,
start with a knock-knock joke.
I don't know if anyone's ever given anyone that comedy advice before.
Yeah, because it's the worst ever.
Yeah, it was just weird. So this is great. We just pop through the curtain and you're there.
I need to bitch about something right now that happened to me last night.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you have a story that relates.
Okay, I hope so.
Last night I took my girlfriend out. We went and saw Fred Armisen from Portlandia.
Oh, cool.
He was in town doing a live showing of an episode of Portlandia.
Oh, cool. Okay.
You like that show?
I do like that show. I haven't watched a ton of it, but I did watch the Seth Meyers show last night, and I noticed that Fred Armisen wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We were in the same city.
In the same city. So he was at that show last night. I wanted to buy one round of drinks for me and my girlfriend, and I went up. The only money I had in my wallet was a $50 bill because I am rich.
Yeah.
No, because my
Same.
roommate,
Uh-huh.
because I have a roommate. My roommate owed me some money, and so I had a $50 bill in my pocket. I used the 50, and I even made a point of saying like, "You got change for this?" Anyway, someone else in line was friends with the person behind, distracted that guy, distracted me when I got my change, which I didn't realize for 4 hours later. I only got $8 back.
Oh, my goodness.
Instead of $38.
Yeah.
So I shorted myself $30 last night at the show.
Oh, what a bummer,
by
man.
not paying attention.
Take it up with Fred. Is that what you're reaching out to Fred?
Is that what this should be?
Yeah.
If anyone knows Fred.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's an expensive round. That's a bummer.
Mm-hmm. That's one beer.
Yeah.
That I had, and then the can of Sprite for my girlfriend that I paid $32 for.
Well, it's nice to be generous with the people you love. That's the upside. So do you think it wasn't a scam?
I don't.
The guy got distracted.
I don't.
You should follow this up. You should go back and tell him what went down.
He looked too nice.
Oh,
if I had
really?
to judge. I remember what he looked like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Flim Flam to me.
You know what?
The old switcheroo.
In high school, I was voted most gullible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not a joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a category.
Well, they had it in my high school.
Were you really
in my
voted
high
most
school?
gullible, or did people just tell you that?
That
was a joke. That was a joke. Did you get it?
Fucker. That was
okay,
good.
yeah,
I'm so gullible I didn't get no.
People at home got that.
I know.
Derek in the booth is really laughing hard.
Laughing at my expense. That's good. It was dizziest / most gullible.
Oh, okay.
But I think the most gullible applied more towards me than dizzy. I don't know if dizzy.
I think but I think often gullible is a sign of a sweet nature.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, you're not cynical.
No. Well.
Oh, you cynical
that's
now?
left.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, you did fall for the old $30 short change trick last night.
Exactly.
So I think you should. I think. What was the venue? Was it somewhere you've been before?
Yes.
I might.
It's actually the venue's a nonprofit.
Oh, well, not last night. I think you could maybe take it up with them.
You know what I could do? Claim it on my taxes next year as a donation.
Oh, wow, okay.
No, I'm not going to do that in case the IRS is listening. I'm not.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know how taxes work very well.
I don't either. I don't either. I'm doing mine right now. Well, actually, somebody else's. So you're from Canada. You mentioned Vancouver.
Yes.
That's where you were born?
I was born outside of Toronto, but I started comedy in Vancouver. I live there. My family lives there, so I kind of think of it as my hometown.
I've never been to Canada, but I do know that those cities are nowhere near each other.
That's good for you. Often I meet people and they'll be like, they'll think they're neighboring cities.
No, very far. How did you go from one to another?
Yeah, I was traveling. I was out of the country, and while I did that, my parents retired, and my sister had moved out there, and my whole family kind of relocated out there. So when I came home, I was living in Europe. When I came home, that's where I moved.
What was in Europe?
I was a model for 3 years, male model. Yeah.
That's not what got you there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that hurts that you would. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I didn't know they do that with men.
Yeah, they do. Because if you look at me, I couldn't do. I'm not like the all-American look but I didn't go to university. I'm dyslexic, and I had this opportunity to do that. Yeah, I lived in England, and I would go
18, 19?
Yeah. I was a young man, young buck.
Who did you go there with someone?
No, just myself. I started, and it was one of the craziest. I started. Someone suggested I should.
Where did they find you? Let's go back to that.
How in New York City. I was in New York, just kind of hanging out, and really just kind of hanging out. I was like not doing anything, and I knew people that were in the fashion industry and stuff like that, just because everyone kind of hangs out, musicians and stuff like that. I met an agent. He's like, you should come to Milan, which is the further. I'm from Oshawa, Ontario, which is like kind of Canada's like Detroit or whatever. It's like the smallest. It's based around a GM plant.
Oh, yeah.
So Milan, I was like, and my parents were, encouraging, which is kind of insulting in retrospect, because I'm like, so they thought that was my skill set, getting dressed and walking. I did it, and it was such a trip. It was crazy. It was, we lived in these like it was like a residence for models, kind of. And there'd be like 5 dudes in a room. No, unfortunately, and I see your eyes light up.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, you go with later on. I would go back to Milan, and you would live in kind of a co-ed situation. But this was like, because it was all guys their first year. It was like bottom of the barrel accommodations. It was so bad. And you live with a guy. I lived with a guy that I met that summer that went on to be do reality shows and stuff like that.
In the States?
In Milan, in the States, yeah. And then it was just a trip. You just go you're auditioning for fashion shows. You go with a book, pictures of yourself, which is humiliating. And then you hand it to these, really kind of flamboyant gay men that are, designers and fit into certain stereotypes. And they look at you, and then they make you walk, which I always thought I was good at, but it turns out I'm not someone's cup of tea, my walking style. And then they book you, and you do these shows. The whole thing is really ridiculous. And it was strange, especially for me, because I was just this like skinny dude from a hockey town where I didn't think of myself as handsome or that anyone would want to see me on a runway or anything like that. So it was a surreal experience. I did it for 3 years.
Why does that end? How does that end? Sick of living over there?
Yeah, I really didn't. I was like, I found it, and in retrospect, I'm like,
horrible car crash?
No,
I'm looking at you. I don't notice.
No, I just wasn't. It just wasn't my thing. I was never. In retrospect, if I could look back and be like, oh, you're going to be a comedian, then I'd be like, oh my God, you bring a notepad and this is research for, but I didn't, I was just kind of embarrassed the whole time. Like I wasn't, cause before I modeled, I never had swam in public without wearing a t-shirt. Like I wasn't like a look at me type of person.
Right.
And I just did it cause I really didn't have anything else to do. I knew I couldn't work in a car factory. I don't have that, what's it called? Work ethic. So I didn't do that. So I just did this thing. It was just this crazy experience. Yeah.
That's wild.
And then, so what happened was, my agent, was a model for years. And she always told me this story where she booked one last kind of big job and took that money and retired and started this modeling company. And I was always like, oh, that would be the best. Just get like one sweet gig. Yeah. take the money, and I was like, obviously I'm not going to start a modeling company, but I'll move home and have money.
Yeah.
And then I got it was a car commercial, and it was me driving, and Sylvester Stallone was like the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. And I got some money, and it wasn't like crazy money, but I was like, all right, I'm out. And I moved back to Canada, and then shortly after that I started doing stand up. So yeah, it was crazy.
Wild.
Yeah, it was really weird. And
what were the clothes? Let's see. What was the
ranged.
Was there a ridiculous fashion that is now everyone's wearing?
No, like it ranged. Like I would do big shows. Like I did shows for like Giorgio Armani and stuff like that, which was surreal. Like it's so crazy. He has a block in Milan, and he lives there, and it's a studio, and it's just like where the shows are and stuff like that. So you would do that, which would be, somewhat conservative. Some of them, I remember my first outfit was a mesh. I remember I had to wear like a mesh tank top under a sports coat.
Huh?
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is so for someone who's. I was like, oh, this is really embarrassing. And then you would do shows like the fashion schools in London are super progressive, like fashion wise, and then you would just wear like the craziest outfit. Like it would be like bicycle shorts and a ostrich hat or whatever, like just crazy things.
Yeah.
That stuff was more the like stereotypical things that you see on TV where you're like, I can't believe anyone would wear that. And you're like, yeah, they made me wear that. Right. Yeah.
Did that make you have some sort of like special interest? What's that TV show? Top Model, America's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched that?
I have watched that. I have a joke about it, but
you do?
Yeah. I have watched that. And that was the thing about modeling. There were people that I just couldn't fathom. Like in my head, I was like, well, this is hilarious, right, guys? And everyone else was like, no, we're doing sit-ups. Like no one else. Like I thought it was like that, but no, people took it really serious. There were people that was like, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a model, and I couldn't get my head around that.
Was there anyone like keeping an eye on what you were eating or anything like that?
Not for me. I was in such a different category because I was like skinny. It was before I really filled out. I was super skinny, and it was kind of still a novelty at the time to have like a skinny dude or whatever. So there were guys, like I remember once I was at what design? It was like Versace. It was like a big casting for a fashion show. It was like Versace. Was it for Valentino? It was like a big thing in Milan. And it's you line up for like, 90 minutes or 2 hours. It's like hot and everything. And I was eating peanuts. And I remember there was a guy, and it was an American dude, who was just outraged that I was eating peanuts. He was like talking about the fat content compared to like the right. And I remember just thinking, wow, I'd never heard a guy talk like that. Like I'd heard women on like a sitcom that are making fun. Like I just never
Weight Watchers or something.
Yeah, or just someone who's making fun of someone who's really superficial. But I was faced with that all the time, where you're just like, wow, you think like that? That's crazy.
That peanut's gonna go right to your hips.
Yeah, and it was just a weird thing. But for me, it was different because it wasn't. I don't know why they wanted me, but it wasn't because they were like, oh, this guy's like super ripped. Although I am now.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I don't know why. So it was different. Like some guys wore that where it was like about their six pack and their chiseled business or whatever.
It's kind of good. Yeah. You know what? You kind of lucked out in the whole thing, really. You could have had it like where you had to like be the beefcake.
Yeah.
No, I just got to stay skinny. All right.
Yeah, I just did. I didn't have to. Yeah, totally. But in a way, it was weird because it was like. Yeah, so I didn't have anything in common with anyone I met. Like all my friends and stuff were outside.
Except for maybe the girls.
Yeah, even it's a weird. It's just a trip, man. Like especially in like Milan is so it's all fashion industry. It's just a trip to see the way people interact. Like so much stuff. You're like, oh, I thought that only happened in like after school specials. Like. Young like American girls dating like older like Italian businessmen, like just weird things, right? It's just weird. And I don't mean young, but I mean like you're 18 and the dude is, to me at the time, might as well have been 100. You just see these old dudes or whatever. Right. So it was strange. It was strange.
I have one final question about that.
Okay.
Does that turn you into any sort of a clothing snob?
No. My dad's like a super stylish dude. Mm-hmm. And when I was a kid, he was like a businessman. And again, we're from this like small town and semi-small town in Canada. And I would remember being a kid and like watching TV and seeing like Michael Jordan would be wearing the same suit as my dad. Like my dad, yeah, like my dad would wear like a bright blue suit, like not like the Kings of Comedy, but like my dad was a super stylish dude. So I kind of grew up. I'm not like a big I don't consider myself a fashion plate, I believe the term is. Oh, but I like, I do have some nice cardigans I wear on stage.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's yes. If you do any research,
and please do,
on Phil Hanley, you know that he enjoys cardigans.
I do. I think it's a nice stage attire.
Were you a hockey fan then?
I was when I was a real little kid, and then I played when I was like super young, and then it sounds so either lame or like a joke, but it's true. I kind of discovered sleeping in, and I was like, I'm not gonna get up. You have to get up so early on like weekends and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I think if I had it showed any real potential as a hockey player, my parents would have been more encouraging, but they were just like, okay, yeah, you don't have to do it.
Did you have any brothers that played or anything?
I had my brother. I have an older brother that played that was he was better than me. Yeah, he was quite good. But I honestly, before I started comedy, I never really put effort into anything really. You know what I mean? Like I remember my brother practicing.
Yes,
I never crossed my mind. Like I remember my brother like would work out and like shoot the ball against the wall and stuff like that. I just never. Yeah, so I would just show up. I'd play hockey. It was fun, but it wasn't,
Does that mean you played video games growing up?
I wasn't a huge video game guy.
When you discover sleeping in, that a lot of times is connected somehow to staying up late playing video games.
True, I could see that. No, I was a little bit because I'm dyslexic. I'm not great. Like eye-hand coordination stuff is not like video games and like parallel parking are not things that I'm very good at.
God damn.
Yeah.
I brought some stuff along. We're going to talk about that dyslexia stuff.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We're going to get to that. Actually, we could right now. Where is that? I wrote some stuff down here. We should have some music to kill this time here. Here we go. I have something right here. 12 myths about dyslexia.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Can I just, before you set this up, when I was a kid, I was so frustrated being dyslexic, and I was in special ed, and I hated it so much, and I just hated the fact that I was different, and there was only 6 kids in my classroom, opposed to like a regular classroom.
Right. The 6 special kids.
Very special. And I refused to learn anything about dyslexia, and my mom is like an expert on it. And I refused to learn anything about it. And now I'm like, want to write more jokes about it. So now I'm watching, there was like a great HBO documentary about it and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So this is great for me. This will help me. And I'm going to try to write some jokes after the podcast. So this is perfect.
Sweet. All right. Well, good. So these are we'll get your opinion on these or what you think of them.
Okay.
Or whatever. Just whatever reaction you'd like.
Okay.
So here's myth number 1. There is no cure for dyslexia. And the reason they say that is because the fact is it's not a disease.
Oh.
Given the right kind of teaching, dyslexics can learn to read and even to spell just as anyone else.
I have not found that. I can read and spell, but it's slow, and I can't. My spelling is not very good. But I question that. But then again, maybe I never went to. I think now there's like special schools and stuff like that. But so they're saying you can learn. Mm-hmm. I don't think
given the right kind of teaching, dyslexic can learn to read. Learn to read and even to spell just as well as anyone else, it says here.
Oh, really? I think that might. I don't know if that's the case.
Okay, interesting.
Let's see.
Well, I want to ask you about reading. Have you ever been a reader?
I do. Like I force myself to read, but it's not. It's like it's exhausting, and it's not. It doesn't. It's
slow.
Very slow. Very slow. But I can. I mean, I read. But it's not like people like when like the idea of someone like just like I'm just gonna relax and read a book. Like to me, that's like saying I'm gonna relax and like run up a hill. Like it's just not. It's not relaxing.
Yeah,
but there's lots of things I want to learn about, so I do force myself.
Yeah. Well, all right. Dyslexics have special abilities. That says that's a myth.
Oh no! Okay.
It's okay. Here's what it says. The facts are: other than their problems with reading, dyslexics are pretty much the same as everybody else. There's no specific dyslexic profile. Some dyslexics have exceptional abilities, but exactly the same thing can be said about non-dyslexic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, I don't think I have, I personally, I don't think I have any superpowers, but,
Not X-ray vision or anything?
no.
Damn.
But no, from what I understand, from what I've, and this HBO documentary, I think it's called Beyond Dyslexia, is and I've heard that actually dyslexics think differently. They think, I've heard it described as more of 3D. They can picture things and stuff like that visually, which would to me make sense because you can't read. Like it feels like if you have trouble reading, then it's like if a blind person has like a stronger sense of smell or hearing. I think that if you are bad at something. Or not bad, it probably isn't the right word, but if you are
lacking somewhere,
if something's challenging, an area is challenging, generally you compensate somewhere else. I personally have not found that where I do that, but I would be surprised if it was just
wouldn't it be great if
cursed you can't read and there's nothing positive about it.
Right. Wouldn't it be great if it was something like totally not connected? Like, well, I have this, but because of it, I can jump really high.
Yeah, I wish I could jump high.
Dyslexia is a gift. It says that's a myth. Because it says for dyslexics who haven't learned to read properly, it's a condition that causes nothing but unhappiness.
I think this guy got dumped by a dyslexic, and this sounds like a smear campaign. They always say that's the one thing and again, they always say that it's just a different way of thinking. Yeah.
This person says, we've taught over 1,000 pupils, and not one of them has ever had a good thing to say about being dyslexic. One commented, if this is a gift, they can have it back.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a... Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been... It's not a problem. In school, it's the worst, because this is the way schools are taught. You get to read and then regurgitate what you've read, and if you can't read, it's hard to regurgitate.
Is there a relationship between dyslexia and high intelligence?
If you ask this guy, I'm sure, right? He's like
this prick.
Yeah.
It says repeated studies have shown that there's very little relationship between dyslexia and intelligence.
This guy's a jerk.
In young children. Our pupils are just as likely to be low ability as high ability. Most of them fall in the middle. However, if dyslexics don't learn to read, their IQs tend to fall behind as they get older.
Oh, okay. All right. Look to the bottom if the last one's dyslexic women cheat on you, and we'll know that this guy's just bitter. No, I don't know. I'm
They're
not
all whores.
Yeah.
True. Not a myth. How about, have you ever heard this one? Left-handedness is a sign of dyslexia?
No. I've heard people who don't know about dyslexia have said like, "Oh, you left-handed," but I'm right-handed, but I think I don't know. I could see why people would think that, just because I think if you write left-handed and stuff like that, maybe certain activities are difficult when you're learning how to write or something. I don't know.
There's one here about. So did you reverse letters?
I reverse letter basically with me, and not that this jerk would know. No, with me, basically what it is you, or like a regular normal person, you see a letter and you automatically associate a sound with it. Mm-hmm. So if you saw a street sign or something, a word you've never seen before, you could read it. Whereas any word I know, I've memorized it. I don't have the ability to associate a symbol with a sound, is basically all it is. Mm-hmm. So I don't see... The stereotype is that people see letters mixed up or words backwards or whatever. That's not... I don't even know if that is a thing for anyone, but it's certainly not for me. It's just, if I haven't seen a word before, I basically can't read it.
This guy actually does say... because it's very common for a lot of kids to reverse letters and numbers just because the way they see it.
Oh, okay.
And the best thing to do is to not correct them, because eventually they'll just work it out on their own. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about this dude.
My daughter does threes backwards. Should I be concerned?
No, I think no. I know my nephew has certain numbers that he sometimes does backwards, and he's not dyslexic. I was worried that my nephew was going to be dyslexic.
Really?
Yeah, just because school is such a drag. If you can't, you just like for the whole whatever it is, 12 years.
Don't you think that as time goes on, I would assume schools are doing a better job of not, alienating.
Maybe
Here, you go with you go in the special class.
Yeah, like they wouldn't let me. Like they wouldn't let me like take music or anything like that because they're like, oh no, because you're in special ed. But it was like so stupid because it was like you think logically, you're like, oh, this kid can't read. Let's encourage him to do something else,
right.
Besides marijuana when he gets old enough.
Is that the cure? If dyslexia was a disease, would pot be a cure?
No, but I would say I don't know. There is a stereotype that kids in special ed like party.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing? Do you know that? Like they're stoners or whatever.
I don't know. For me, where I went to school, the special ed kids were like literally special ed kids.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, there was levels. Like in there was like my special ed, and then there was like another class that we did a lot of activities and stuff with that were more the disabilities were more serious. But so what they would do is they would put me in a regular class for a year, and then they would bring me back, and I would be like, oh man. Yeah, it was such a drag.
Remember when we were friends 2 years ago?
It was such a drag. Well, that's the only thing. Like, it's just so boring when you would be in a regular. I mean, in special ed wasn't stimulating by any means, but just sit in a class and the whole day is dedicated to something you can't do. They know you can't. Like, I can't read and I can't write, and they're like, okay, well, just read this and then copy the chalkboard. So it was just so excruciatingly boring. But I think that's part of the reason why I'm a comic, because I'm like, I don't like doing anything that is not. I don't like doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's from all those years of being like, this is the worst. From a young age, you're just like, oh, this is so boring. So then I was so set on, and that was also with modeling. I was like, yeah, this isn't something I want to do. This isn't stimulating or whatever.
So if you ever find yourself caught in a situation where you're like, oh, this is not my. Is that pretty uncomfortable then?
Yeah, I just do you mean like through comedy?
Or just anything in your life
I
now.
think my patience is pretty, and you could ask my friend or my girlfriend. Yeah, if I have something that I'm not enjoying, I do bitch about it a lot.
Like girlfriend brings you to something that's her deal and not yours.
Oh, no, I could do that. I could do that, but more like anything work-wise. Like if I had like like a really boring job or like a day job or, like an office job that I wasn't into or whatever, I would I think my tolerance for spending a day doing something I don't enjoy is very low. But maybe that's everybody.
Yeah, probably to some extent. This last one here I wanted to bring up, it says dyslexics are clumsy. That's the myth. It says dyslexics are indeed clumsy. Some are, but most aren't.
Oh, all right.
Has it led you to be clumsy? Have you ever even heard that?
No. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I think that's the only time. I don't know why that guy's shit talking dyslexics the whole time.
What a jerk.
Yeah, I thought he was. But yeah, the last one, the clumsy. No, I don't think. I think dyslexia. Not that this guy would know. I think that dyslexics do have eye-hand coordination. Sometimes is the difficulty. So I mean, that's not going to lead to. That could lead to a little bit of clumsiness. But no, I don't think I'm particularly clumsy. On stage, I'm like a gazelle. I don't know if you've seen me just moving around.
I watched your set on the one that's posted on YouTube from one of the Craig Fergusons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you notice my gazelle-like movements?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you go back now, you see I wrote that as a comment.
Oh, no, gazelle.
I had to Google gazelle.
I don't know if it's clumsy.
Without dyslexia, I didn't know how to spell that.
Sometimes I will be, I don't know if this is a common thing. And I think that sometimes I'll be, I don't know if this is clumsiness, but I'll take... It'll happen maybe like once every few months. You touch the microphone against your lip, and that is repulsive. I don't know if that's clumsiness, but it is. It haunts me. I'm like 3 jokes in, and I'm just like, I gotta put Perella on my face. So gross.
We were talking before over some food here before we started, and I was telling you that I have a part-time job selling beers.
Yes.
Walking up and down the stairs. Well, I was working a game years ago, and walking up, cold beer here. A guy is walking towards me down the staircase that I'm walking up. Yeah. And I don't remember what word he said, but a piece of spit perfectly flew out of his mouth, and while I was in mid shout, right into my mouth, into the inside of my lip, bottom lip.
Oh.
How do you recover from that?
I go to emergency. Oh man. Oh, that is
I couldn't get out of the way.
Did he see it?
Did he see it? No, he didn't see it because I made a face and he just kind of looked at me like, "What, dude?" So no, he didn't see it.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that is that's
I'm glad he didn't notice because I think it even would have been more awkward. Like we just spit.
Yeah.
Are we dating now?
Yeah. You definitely owes you. You should have bought you one of those beers.
I know.
Wow, that is that's unpleasant.
Yeah, it was horrifying.
Oh, that's too bad.
Absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
And when you can't move out of the way, as you just see it coming.
Oh yeah. Because you got all those beer. I think I would have just dove and just accepted I was going to lose some profit. Yeah. Sometimes you'll start a show and the first thing you do is you move the stool or whatever, and there'll be gum under the stool, and you're like, these animals. Who could you imagine doing that to your colleagues? That's gross too. And I can just feel it on my hand the whole time. So nasty. Gum on a stool. Like it's not just like some random stool or a seat on the bus. It's like
someone else going to use this.
Yeah,
disgusting.
Yeah.
What did you have? So I assume did you have any other jobs between? I'm just curious if you had any shitty jobs that you had to slug through for a little bit between, maybe in school or before the modeling.
Yeah, I worked.
What did you know that you would never do again?
I worked. My dad had an insurance company. He was in the insurance business, and they would give me the suits. Yeah, he would give me. I would work for them sometimes or whatever. But I was like, it must have been. Yeah, I'd go and nap in the car. Like I was not a good employee. And of all the things, I was I think back now, it just dawned on me. One of my thing was like alphabetical order of like the files and stuff like that. So I can't believe the company didn't completely collapse.
They had you file papers.
Yeah, they must have hired someone. It's just dawning on me right now. They must have hired someone to go back and take the P's out of the wherever I would have put them.
Out of the Q's.
Yeah. Wow. That's like. I feel I got to call my dad and tell him I love him. That's yeah. They hired me to. Yeah,
you gotta go back and find out that someone had like a seasonal temp job.
Yeah,
following you around.
Yeah. Like dressed as like a plant and just reached out and undid everything I did. No, that would be funny if you were like, oh, no, how did the company go? I'm like, well, they actually went bankrupt. That was my dad's scheme, but no, there was like a good company. And he sold it and retired to Vancouver. But yeah, no, my dad was like, he's certainly not dyslexic. Both my parents are like crazy, like organized, know what's going on and all this stuff. And yeah.
They were cool with comedy?
Extremely. I don't know. Like my dad's always loved comedy. And it's
You like any comedians he liked?
Yeah, we still do. My dad loves Jim Gaffigan. I love Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
I'll be home getting ready to do a set. I still play. Not as much, but I used to go. At one point, I was living in New York and I had a girlfriend in Vancouver, so I would take every advantage as I could to play the club. And I would be like getting ready for a show. My dad would be on YouTube, like watching stand up. Like he's a huge comedy fan.
Awesome.
So yeah, they're into it.
Any of the old ones? Like, was he a fan of any of the older?
Yeah, like he loved. He loved the Tonight Show with like Johnny Carson, and I'm trying to think of older comics. We went to see Rickles together.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah,
my dad and I went and saw Bill Cosby together.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's such a cool thing to get to do that. Sometime I would love to. We saw Seinfeld in Vancouver when I was first starting. I went with my parents. He has really good taste in.
You have to get him to
comedy.
one of your shows now.
What's that?
You have to get him to come to your show sometime.
Yeah. If only. No, he'll come. That's another thing my parents are really cool about is I never really. I like to just go and do the show. I don't like, if you bring people, it's always like. I like my pre-show just hanging out with other comics. Yeah. You bring people, it's always kind of so they never really pressure me to come to the show. So I do the Vancouver Comedy Fest. I've kind of go home every year to do it, and I'll do a show there that's like in the theater, and there'll be like some famous people. Like it'll be a big show. Like I did one last year with Martin Short. and so that's an exciting show.
Yeah.
And so they'll come to that where it's like, just put tickets at the will call in. But I don't want to like bring them to like a late show
then you're
at
the
a
host.
club.
Then you're hosting, right?
Pardon?
Then you're hosting. You're bringing them back.
Yeah, and then you don't know what else is going to go on, and it's like I don't know. I just So they'll come to shows if it's kind of like a big deal.
I heard on the you mentioned, I didn't want to forget this because I'm a big fan of it. Pee Wee Herman. How are you crossing paths with Pee Wee Herman? Did that happen yet?
You know what?
Don't tell me it's been canceled or something.
It was about 3 weeks ago. He was supposed to host. It was like the Best of the Fest show at Vancouver, and I was flying home to do the show. That show, I was at one point just flying home for one day to do that show. And something happened, and he did not end up doing it.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh.
But I was super bummed because I love Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
And I was so excited about it. And I had talked about it and so looked forward to doing it. And, it did not occur. The show still occurred, and the show was lots of fun. But, no, I'm not someone who gets my picture taken. Like if you're in a weird situation and you get to meet a celebrity or whatever, I'm really happy just to say hey or not say anything or whatever. But I never get my picture taken. But as soon as I booked it, I was like, I'm gonna have my picture taken with Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah,
I was excited.
Oh.
Yeah, and it did not occur.
That would be a dream come true.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah,
I don't want to be his friend. I just would love to, meet him for 2 seconds, get my picture taken.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was a bit of a bummer.
I just saw on, they were selling the bike from Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Really?
Yeah. On, some guys had it, and it was on eBay or some other auction site.
Wow.
Like
how much?
A week ago.
Really? Was it crazy? It was like $1 million?
Oh, no. Not at that point. Maybe 10 grand or something.
Oh, really?
At that point? Yeah.
That would be a nice centerpiece.
I'd never ride it.
No, yeah.
No.
But it would be nice. It'll be heavy to have in your living room.
Hell yeah.
That
would be awesome.
Yeah.
What did it says you worked with Don Knotts?
I did work with Don Knotts. Yeah.
Where? How?
Who to me is one of the that was my parent. My dad was like a huge Andy Griffith fan. We'd watch it.
Sure.
And Don Knotts is so funny, so great. And then Three's Company.
Mr. Furley.
Yeah, I worked with him.
Or was he Roper?
He was Furley.
Okay, yeah.
I worked with him when I first, even before I did stand up. I worked for a company that wrote kids movies, and I suggested how great he would be for a character, the voice one of the characters, and they were into it, and they flew me down, and I worked with him for the day. I was in the sounds booth, and I got to improvise. We had the written out dialogue, and then I got to improvise stuff. And then I got it just ideal timings. At one point, it was just us in the room, and I'm a huge Marx Brothers fan, and I love that kind of whole era of comedy movies and stuff like that. And I got to talk to him about the Marx Brothers and stuff, and he'd been in show business forever. It was so
Did
great.
you get your picture taken with him?
I did get my picture taken with him. Yeah.
He qualifies. He's worthy.
Yeah, I think the only people I've got my picture taken with is Don Knotts and Martin Short, as he's dressed as a Jiminy Glick.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I don't know who else I ever got my picture taken with.
What was the deal that you were working on with him?
It was a kids movie called Air Buddies. It was dogs talking.
Did you voice a dog?
No, I did not.
You just wrote on it?
I wrote the words. Some of the words.
How did you get into writing? How did that happen? Writing children's.
I had a friend. Have a friend who works. Makes kids movies, and it happened. Like I said before, I did stand up. They needed one scene. They were shooting somewhere in they were in Jamaica, and they were shooting, and they needed one scene that had to be funny. So she just phoned me and was like, "Can you just write dialogue? This is the situation. Can you just write dialogue
about dogs?"
No, I think it was I feel it was a chimpanzee or something like that. They're for the little kids. It was this is the scene. The chimp is on the beach. And whatever happens, I forget what it was, but it was 10 years ago now. And I was like, can you, and I just kind of came up with something, and then it just escalated, and then I was, writing them. Yeah, it was a job.
What like when you go on Google and they have it does autocomplete.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about. This morning I put in "do Canadians," and then I had it autocomplete that. Have you ever done that before?
No.
Okay. These are the ones I wrote down. The ones that came up. What are your thoughts on these?
Okay.
So all I wrote, and this is like I've never Googled. I'm pretty sure I've never Googled "do Canadians" and then anything after that. So these are just all and I know that Google does base these on popularity of searches.
Oh, okay.
So nationwide, I would guess.
Okay.
So this is the first one that came up. Do Canadians like their healthcare system? This is the very first one.
Oh, and I'm supposed to say yes or no?
You can if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd say yeah. I'd say yeah. I think that's like a point of pride in Canada.
Yeah, you get asked about that a lot.
I do. Yeah. I do get asked about that, and then I see like I'll talk to a friend or whatever. Like I know comics that get sick and can't go to get like they're like I don't have healthcare, so they don't go to doctors and stuff.
Here,
in the state, it's nuts. Like in Canada, it's. No, I'm not saying that's nuts. It's just nuts. Like I can't understand. Like it's so different. Like we just go. Like we just go to the doctor all the time. You have anything, you go to a doctor.
Not just when it's an emergency.
Yeah, like it's like a real people. It's like a real conundrum if they're like got like they're cold, they have a cold or whatever. Yeah, they're like, oh man, I got this, that, and it's. I've been in the States for almost 3 years, and I'm always like, we'll just go to the doctor. Like you just automatically say like, oh, just go to the doctor. So yeah, we're very lucky. I think in Canada, the Canadians pride themselves on that. I think.
You're still a resident of Canada?
Yes, sir.
But living in New York?
New York City, yeah.
Okay. Here's the next one. Do Canadians like Americans? Why'd you laugh like that?
Because there's like in like say in a club or whatever, you could get like a cheap laugh by criticizing Americans in Canada.
Okay.
If you say something about it, but but deep down, I mean, we consume so much American culture and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say Canadians adore Americans. Although I want to, they might say like healthcare or something like that. They would, they could be critical. But I think deep down, I mean, we're neighbors. I always wanted to come to the States, like since I was a kid.
I want to go fishing in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I have friends that go fishing in Canada. The Canadian fishing trip is always the best one of the year.
Oh, really?
I never have a chance to go. That's something I need to do someday.
I've never done that either.
This one also auto-completed. Do Canadians have social security numbers?
We have social. It's called the social insurance number, but it's the same thing.
Same thing. This one I thought was really weird. Celebrate Valentine's Day.
We are a loveless nation. Yeah, of course, yeah.
I thought
January 10th every year, man.
Come on.
No, January 14th, yeah. Oh, no, February 14th. February 14th.
And then this one, the reverse of the other one, this one also completed. Do Canadians hate Americans? So, I don't know.
No, but like it's so lame just to make a joke. Oh, about like guns or something like that. Like kind of like a joke in the club or like a hack joke would be like, gun, any Americans here? Woo, don't shoot me. Just something really. It's
that's bad.
Yeah.
Do Canadians celebrate Thanksgiving?
We do. I find it a little insensitive when Americans ask, like they assume it's the same day.
Mm-hmm. Why would it be?
Yeah, like the Pilgrims, same night. Pilgrims, they had their dinner there, and then they jetted up to Windsor.
They just called and said, "We're starting."
Yeah. Yes, we do have Thanksgiving. It's in October though, and it's not as big of a deal. Right. But it's like a family holiday. I was going to say it's a Hanley holiday, but yeah, it's every family. Yeah, case. Depending. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pay taxes.
Yeah. Really? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
People were asking that. I like this one. Do Canadians need a visa to go to Turkey?
Good question, and I'm glad you asked me. That's my area of expert. I don't know. Yes, I would say.
Why would that come up?
I don't know. Apparently, that's a destination. I don't know that many people have been to Turkey.
I don't know. The last two are drink tea and have accents.
Tea, yes. Tea is more because of the connection with England. And we have Coronation Street, which is on every. Do you know what Coronation Street is?
No.
I think it's like the longest running or one of the longest running, most kind of popular shows in England. It's like it's kind of like a soap opera, but it's on in Canada too. Like there are some connections. The Queen is on Armani, obviously.
Right.
Queen is in our classroom. But yeah, I think we drink tea, whereas like because you guys drink like Lipton tea.
Yeah.
That it's not. We drink like proper British tea.
Proper.
Yeah, as I like to say, proper.
Were you ever in the French-speaking parts of?
I've played the French-speaking parts. Montreal.
Where you had felt like you need to learn some stuff?
No, I've never lived there. I've just been there. It's amazing. Montreal is so crazy that it's part of Canada or even part of North America. It feels so European. It's a very cool city.
So you've just performed.
I have, I performed there. Yeah.
What else? What else is coming up this year, Phil?
I am doing the Pete Holmes show on October 4th. No, April 4th. Sorry. That's dyslexia.
October?
Yeah. I'm getting ready.
April, you said?
Yep, April, yeah.
April 4th.
Yep.
You're doing the Pete Holmes show.
Yeah, and
Very
then,
cool.
just more touring in lots of spots in New York City.
Yeah. What's your place in New York? Where do people usually see you there?
I play the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I play everywhere, but that's where I am throughout the week the most.
What's the latest in the evening you've worked the Comedy Cellar?
I have gone on probably at 2 in the morning.
2 in the morning?
Yeah. Or I have gone on at 2 in the morning. If someone comes, sometimes, if someone really big comes and the shows, we'll get, the last show we'll go on later than. But I think there's normally on weekends there's normally a 2 a.m. spot, but that's not a spot that I normally get. But I have gone on around 2.
I can't imagine that.
Is
the crowd cool at 2
Yeah,
a.m.?
the crowd's cool. I mean, they're different than a crowd that would be at 7, obviously. Mm-hmm. But they're cool. That room is so great and so policed, and people are so. It's so now because it's on the beginning of Louis and stuff like that. Yeah. It's so it's anything that you've seen on TV a million times, and then you're there. People are really respectful, I think, into the fact and the way that it's just such a fun room.
Yeah,
it's like it feels a little bit like Acme in the sense that the ceiling's lower. It's not as big as this room.
No, I've been there.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
oh, cool.
I went to a show one night.
You can just feel it. You're just like, oh, this is the best place to do comedy. Like you can just feel that it's just perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like a sardine feels like in a can.
Oh, is it packed in the audience
at the Comedy Cellar? I felt it was.
Okay,
yeah.
It's just it's the best.
But it was great. I saw some really good acts. We mentioned before we were talking. I just saw Bill Burr do some stand up recently.
Oh, cool!
The first time I ever saw Bill Burr was at the Cellar.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, really awesome!
Mm-hmm.
I was there.
And Colin Quinn was there that same night. Adam Ferreira was there.
Okay, cool.
Night.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
I did a show there. It was just and this is just maybe 3 weeks ago, and I went up, and then I think my friend was on. For some reason, normally you go upstairs to the restaurant after your set. For some reason, I stayed down. I think I was watching my friend who was doing a spot. I forget who it was, but then the MC started going. You could tell he's bringing someone up, and you could just tell. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be great. And he brought Seinfeld up, and that was the first time I ever saw Seinfeld in a club. So I was like, the reason I started comedy was watching the documentary Comedian.
Yeah.
So to see him in the Cellar it was just like, wow, this is amazing. And he was working on his Fallon set. And then, because he did Fallon, I think he did the second day the Fallon had the Tonight Show. Seinfeld did a set, yeah. So he was working on that. So that was great. And then Seinfeld got off stage, and then immediately Bill Burr came up. So that was really exciting. Damn. It was really fun. Because I know Burr plays there a lot, but now he's in LA or whatever. Since I've been working the Cellar, which is almost a year, I hadn't seen Burr there. And I'd never seen... I would miss Seinfeld everywhere. My friends would text me, be like, "Oh, he's here right now," and I'd be like, "Ah, you serious?" So I've never got to see him. So yeah, that was an exciting evening.
Very cool. I got one more thing I want to ask you about here. Only because one of my favorite actors in all time, of all time is listed in the cast, including your name. Something called Spy Mate.
Oh, yeah, that was another. Oh, was I? Oh, I played. I think I did some punch up on that, and I played like.
You stood in the background?
Yeah, I was a security guard. I think I might have. I don't even know if it was a line. I might have had a word. I might have had a line.
Well, there's a movie called Spy Mate where you may or may not have one line, and Pat Morita is in that movie.
Oh, I don't know if I'm familiar with Pat Morita.
Mr. Miyagi?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Karate
Patty.
Kid?
I call him Patty. Yeah.
Oh, Patty.
Yeah. No, we didn't. We didn't bump into each other on set. But I didn't know he was in that. I don't think I ever saw that. My mom would know that. My mom would have saw that.
She's probably a big fan of what seems to be the star of that movie, Barry Bostwick.
Oh, don't get me started on Bear.
Oh,
No, I don't know Barry Bostwick either. Who's Barry Bostwick?
I don't know. The name is familiar. I think I bet both of our moms are fans.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think he was on some show before our time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't think he directly went to Spymate?
I'm going to check IMDb.
All right, yeah, let's get. That sounds like you could follow up. That could be a segment.
I think so.
Barry Bostwick. No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not good with actors' names, but
Yeah. All right, Twitter. Where can people find you on Twitter?
please follow me on Twitter. I don't think I have enough Twitter followers. I seem to bag for Twitter followers on podcasts. It's Phil M. Hanley. So PHILM HANLEY.
You nailed it.
Oh, thank you.
And your website is not.
Oh my goodness!
Functioning right now?
Yeah, no, I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing a little research on you. Do a little bit more. I had a little more work this week.
Where you can go? I have clips on YouTube.
I checked them out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you can watch those.
I did.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a website very soon.
Is it going to be? I see.
It will be philhanley.com. I bought the name.
What about .net?
I had a .net. I got both. But it's going to be .com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind, everybody. Because
Yeah.
I hit a link and it went to a .net that was dead.
Yeah. I'm so bad. I'm so not motivated to do that. Any part of it, even phone and talk to someone. This is
all you have to do is go, "Hey, web guy that works for my friend, can you do it for me too?"
Yeah. I don't want to have that conversation, but yeah, I should. I will. I got to. I had this thing when I was going to build my own.
Oh.
It was like honestly, it was. I tried to for about 30 seconds, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to do this.
Well, thank you. It was great to meet you, man.
Oh, thank you.
This
Thanks.
is really cool.
Yeah, this is fun.
And I'm hoping we'll do this again, like in a year when you come back to do your week here at Acme.
Yeah.
And you will have a website by then.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm giving myself a year timeline to have that conversation. Hey, web guy. I'm going to do that in a year.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
Thank you.